S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens, le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked the young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. 8.6 beer. Intense by nature. And Locage. If the last time you went to Locage was when the Habs won the Cup, it's time you went back to Locage. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro on this. Oh, what's going on here? My God, look at this. Is my soundproofing in my room? Okay, so let's just move it over a little bit. Hold on, I didn't see that at all. All right, okay, we got that out of the way. So not your best start, but you know, it doesn't matter how you start; it matters how you finish, is what they say. So. Marinaro, the Sick Podcast on this Wednesday, January 11. It is 1 minute past 10 o'clock Eastern. It is Marc-André Perreault kind of night, of course, as he is a regular every Wednesday night. And, of course, if the Canadiens play, he doesn't join us on Wednesdays, and then he'll join us on another occasion. But the Canadiens don't play tonight. The Canadiens will actually play tomorrow night when they host the Nashville Predators in what will be a very eventful night at the Bell Center in Montreal. It's probably going to be one of the most anticipated Thursday night hockey games, or even hockey games in general, of all the home games the Canadiens have had this season. A lot of people looking forward to it because the Montreal Canadiens announced about a month ago that they were going to pay tribute to PK Subban, who's already in town. And earlier today, he had a chance to go visit the kids at the Montreal Children's Hospital. God love them. Welcome, everyone, and thanks for being here with me along for the ride. And we're going to be with you for at least about an hour. And, of course, the Sick Podcast is brought to you in part by 8.6 beer. This one is the 7.0 alcohol level. It is the India Pale Lager, and intense by nature for those who follow their instinct and live their passions in order to make their mark. Also brought to you in part by Locage. If the last time you went to Locage was when the Habs won the Cup, it's time you go back to Locage. The menu will surprise you. As a matter of fact, my buddy Andy Ellison, who's become a buddy, but he used to be a listener when I used to be on English radio. He's followed me over to support, of course, on the Sick Podcast. And he said, I want to meet up with you. It was your birthday back on November 23rd. I never had a chance to see you. I picked up something for your birthday, and I'd love to meet up with you. And I said, Andy, that's very nice. He said, you want to go for supper tomorrow night, which was today when he called me. And I said, sure, Andy, we can do that. However, I said, seeing as the Canadiens are playing the Nashville Predators, you know, I usually watch the games from home. I put my headset on. I take in all the information. I have my paper. I write down notes, and I get ready, and I put everything together to do the Sick Podcast. I said, but you know what? He says, I'm actually in the mood for an early supper tomorrow. I said, sure, no problem. So once I get out of TVA Sports Television, which, of course, I'm on with Jean-Charles Lajoie, at GAC TVA Sport on TV, Monday to Thursday at around 5:30 p.m. I said I should be back in LaSalle by 6:15. So at 6:15, we're going to be at Lacage, LaSalle tomorrow. But I said, Andy, I'll treat you to supper. However, I'm going to stick around maybe for the first period. But at the end of the first period, I'm going back home to take down some notes. So he's cool with it. So I'll be there tomorrow night. Also brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group. I talked to you about Mike Cinquino. I talked to you about Sean Girard. They own the operation, and what an operation it is. It's a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America. It is driven to be different. If you're watching on Facebook Live, welcome. And if you're watching on Twitter Live, welcome. But if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please do so. We really appreciate it, because the more of you watch on Twitter, on YouTube, that is, the more money we make. And what a beautiful thing it is. Sha-la-la-la-la. La, 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 la. Speaking of money, my God, this guy makes so much on this show. It's unbelievable. Do we have Marc-André Perreault of TVA Sport? We do. There he is. What a beauty this guy is. Look at him.
Hey, how come you know I make that much money with you?
because you asked me for a certain amount. My heart
was a lot, wasn't it?
My heart stopped.
I was surprised you said yes.
They had to take out. Well, I didn't initially. They had to take out the defibrillator. I was actually probably clinically. I was probably dead for about 2 or 3 minutes. When I came back to life, I called Agnello. I told him the amount. Then his heart stopped. And then when we were able to get it going, we said, listen, the more we think about it, we're going to end up dying here. So let's just give him whatever he wants. And then that's how it happened. That's how it went down.
Well, we'll go for a next round of negotiation then.
Yeah. You know what, though? I got to tell you, I think I not only think, I know you're worth it. I know you're worth it.
Oh,
hey, it was nice seeing you.
You're trying to seducing me now.
Well, that's the story of my life,
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I may be a little bit rusty because it's probably about 20 years or so that I haven't been able to seduce anybody. But when you got it, you got it.
You got it. There you go.
It was nice seeing you earlier tonight at the TV.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
Nice hug. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not
I'm
only
a hugger.
You're not only a hugger, but when you hug, you actually give like the little rub in the back too. Like,
well, I mean,
I was gonna detach from the hug, and then you were like, I found it was very, very tight, and you were like.
You guys are funny. Like, just the hug with the. Don't do it then.
Yeah, don't do
it. You hug. So you want to have a moment with one person at this particular moment. You do it.
You know what? This is what I say. You either you either go big or go home. All right. Okay. We have a lot to talk about. Is everything okay with my camera? Because I've been told that something is probably not okay with my camera.
So far, so good. You look great.
You see me good? Yeah. Well, look. I think I see myself good. What's wrong with my camera here? Am I? I think it's good. Yeah. I think it's good. Hold on a second. Oh, you know what? I think. Hold on a second. Let me just do this here. Is that better or? Listen, I think it's okay. I think it's okay. Yeah. It's been worse. You know what I mean? It's been worse before in the past. Okay, it's good. Sammy just told me, because Sammy is back at Master Control. By the way, Sammy and Agnello have become pretty shy, okay? We used to put them on camera a lot more before, and they actually asked that we do it a little bit less. I think they're a little bit shy, okay? Sammy tells me it's good. Hey, before we get to, and why don't we start off with this? Did you see the very unfortunate incident involving Montreal Canadiens Vincent Rohr, the guy they call Vinnie Rohr? Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it. My good friend Jean-François Plante from Le Journal Le Droit posted a tweet, so I went on Twitter to see it. What we know right now is that he is moving. He's been taken to hospital. I mean, it's just a fluke incident because it's like a body check, centerized, but I mean, it's shoulder to shoulder, but the guy flips and on his head. And, but yeah.
So just to put things in context, Mapper, for those who are not aware, Vinnie Rohr was a 3rd round pick, 75th overall in the 2022 NHL entry draft, a right winger who shoots right. He's Austrian. As a matter of fact, you just had a chance to see him at the World Junior Under-20 Championships playing for Austria. In 5 games played, he had 1 goal and 2 assists for 3 points. He plays for the Ottawa 67s in the OHL, and going into tonight's game, he had 34 points in 28 games. He was having a heck of a season, and I think we have the image here. If we can show it, do we? There you have it. Maybe let's rewind a little bit, because I think we caught it a little bit late. Can we rewind a little bit? Right there. He's got the puck. Hold on a second. And it looked like, can we, for whatever, we don't have it all that much here. Hold on a second. Let's go back, please. Let's go back. Let's go back and maybe stop it right here. Okay, look at this. It looks like the right knee comes out, Mapper. See the right knee from the defenseman?
Yeah.
And it looks like it looks more like he catches his hip. Go. It looks like he catches his hip.
I think he realized he was gonna be hit, so he just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
But it's tough to judge because we only have like not even a second before the hit. But it's tough to say. But I'm seeing that it was pretty bad when it happened.
Yeah.
But now he's awake, moving, and speaking. So,
as a matter of fact, when he was lying on the ice, unconscious, at one point the body started to shake a little bit, and we've seen a lot of that actually with athletes. That once they're knocked out, some of them have seizures. Okay, and I don't think it was a very long one, but we saw a little bit of shaking. The good news is that he was, when he was stretchered off, he was moving his extremities and stuff like that. And so, we don't have a lot of news, but what we have, I think, is pretty positive so far.
So far,
So we wish him all the best. And unfortunately, it just seems that in the world of sport, it just seems like there's one bad accident every night. And tonight, unfortunately, it was Vinnie Rohr that I was on the opposite end. All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk Habs. And the more we say that the rebuild is obvious to everyone, like I'm still seeing stuff every day and hearing stuff every day, like the Canadiens are the Titanic and they're a sinking ship right now, and that Marty St. Louis needs more experience behind the bench to help him out, and the Canadiens lack leadership right now, and they need to fill that leadership void, and they need help, and they need to get better results. And I don't understand for the life of me how sports outlets, some of them, or just sports fans or Habs fans or people covering the team, like I don't understand what some people don't understand. Like
I mean, even Marty St. Louis knows
it's not obvious.
It is, and people who are asking for a letter, like Jeff Gordon did with the Rangers. I mean, do you really need a letter to tell you that this team is rebuilding? It's you said it. It's obvious. And Marty St. Louis also needs more experience. He knows it. He says it. He's not shy of it. So it's it's a group thing. And today, I don't know if you heard the quote. It was so funny because we went in the dressing room doing our interviews, and then after that we are doing the scrum. So first is French with the camera, the writers, blah blah blah. And then after it's the English writers.
Okay.
Including Eric Angels, who is Angles, or we call him Angel.
What do you call him? What do you call him?
He's an angel.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But anyway, so
hold on a second. He's an angel. What, on the road? He's an angel. Is that it?
No, in life, it's I don't know if I can say it, but Sarah Angel, she was like a famous kind of cook and nun.
Oh, okay.
Now you don't know her?
No.
Like she's a legend in French Canadian people, so we call him Sar.
Okay.
But anyways.
I kind of feel weird not knowing her, to tell you the truth. Should I feel weird not knowing her? I was almost going to tell you that I knew her without knowing her, but then I said, no, I'm going to get caught in a lie here. I don't want to do that.
No, you don't want to be humble. That's perfect. But you should Google her. It's like, you have to know, if you've been in Montreal long enough to know who Sarah Angel is. So,
okay. I got it. All right.
So it's the scrum, and then like they're asking question, and then Marty St. Louis is saying, our team is like a puppy.
Hold on a second. Pardon me. Okay. I want to bring it up. So everyone can see it, what it sounds. Okay. Now this was the translation in French, because he gave the quote in English. Is that correct?
Yeah. You should translate it in English. It's gonna sound better and more accurate.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Go ahead. So we'll keep it up. You translate it in English. What did he say?
Oh, do I? No,
yeah.
I think, okay. So basically saying that his team is like a puppy. So you can do, training, potty training, but at one point, he's going to pee on the carpet.
Yeah.
It's going to happen, and it's normal. And you're going to be maybe mad, but it doesn't mean that you don't like the puppy. It's just training. And this team is training, and it's going to happen that the team is going to pee on the carpet again. But, it's a work in progress.
I think it's a great quote.
Okay. I mean,
it's so true though, too, right? It's true.
It is. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think he included himself when he was talking about, the learning curve and the fact that mistakes are going to be made and everything. And it is true. And another quote that he said that was very interesting.
So hold on a second. So he too included himself in the list of a young puppy who
that was my understanding
is going to pee on the carpet, right? So
that's my understanding.
So there's players at the Bell Center who every now and then, instead of peeing on the pad, they're peeing on the carpet. Is that correct?
Pretty much. Well,
it's
called like rookie mistakes, or
okay.
It's gonna happen, and
I've never peed on a pad at the Bell Center before or on the carpet. Okay.
Well, good for you.
I usually pee in the urinals at the Bell Center, right? But I have to tell you, the water is very cold. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, another quote that was very interesting to me, because after the game against the Kraken, he talked about passengers. He talked about passengers. You remember?
Yeah.
He said the same thing after, I think it was 15th of December, wasn't it, against Anaheim? Anyways, he said passengers. So it's been 2 times in less than a month. And I asked him
versus
about
Anaheim and last night versus Seattle, correct?
Exactly. And he said, well, the only person, because my question was like, are you doing this to, comme faire que les joueurs comme se sentent visés, ou and he said
to take a shot at the players.
Yeah, he said each player has to look himself in the mirror. The only person that they owe something is themselves. So if you think you're a passenger, well, maybe you are, but some players are too hard on themselves and they think they're passengers and they are not. But anyways, I thought it was an important statement from Marty Saint-Louis after the game against Seattle, and I can't wait for tomorrow to see how the team will respond. Because when your coach is talking about passengers, you do not want to be a passenger the game after, right?
Well, I think Vitherson just came out with the next jersey, a next T-shirt, sick T-shirt. You want to know what he says? I'm going to show you something, okay? Hold on a second.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Say hi to people, sing a song. I'll be back in a second, okay?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, you do not want that.
Yeah, no, I'll be back in a second. Hold on.
You'll see the viewers drop so fast. I can't sing. But you're putting a French-speaking person on the spot right now. But I'm gonna tell people to go on my Twitter account and look that little video of Michael Pizzetta. He has a routine before every practice, and I think you should take a look at that. What else?
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
You see this? You see this? Hold on a second.
What? Double shift your best players.
Correct. Okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. I thought it would be.
That's pretty much what he did. Did you see the
double shift your best players? Okay. This over here, this is courtesy of Peter from Côte Saint-Luc. Okay.
Okay.
Double shift your best players. So this was a beauty. Okay. This was a classic. The Montreal Canadiens were down 3-1 to the Toronto Maple Leafs in the playoffs. Okay?
Yep.
3-1. And Peter
I was there.
from Côte Saint-Luc called Tony Marinaro on English sports radio was the best show they ever had. Right? It was the best show they ever had. The most entertaining, the best ratings, all of that stuff. Okay? And he said what they need to do, the Canadiens, is double shift their best players. Now, it's a pretty brilliant idea. The only challenge the Canadiens could have had is if Toronto was going to double shift their best players, you see? But Toronto didn't double shift their best players, and the Montreal Canadiens double shifted their best players, and they came back and they won the next 3 games of the series, and they eliminated the Toronto Maple Leafs. How did they do it? How did Dominic Ducharme do it? He listened to Peter from Côte Saint-Luc. Double shift your best players. Now, Marty St. Louis talked about the passengers, right?
Yeah, but
and
you pretty much double shift his best players.
And you said you're curious to see what's going to happen next game. Vitherson on YouTube Live right now, he says they should double shift their passengers. There we go. That's the next shirt. For those who want the tank, yours truly. For those who want the best shot at Connor, yours truly. There you have it. Double shift your passengers. That's
Wasn't it Mike Keenan who did that with Kovalev? Like he was taking too long presents, so he Kovalev wanted to go.
He wasn't a passenger, but he left them on for. I think the shift ended up lasting like 4 hours, 4 minutes and 50 seconds or something crazy.
But something is very important. Again, Marty St. Louis pretty much double shift his first line, or almost, because average time on ice. Do you say presence on ice?
Yeah, time on ice
or per shifts.
Okay.
107 for Nick Suzuki, 110 for Nick Caulfield, and 109 for Kirby Dack.
Those are long shifts. Those are long shifts.
Those are 2 long shifts.
But Mapper, let's put things in context. When you've lost 8 of your last 9, and you know, I know, our neighbors know, the person across the street knows, and the person who's not even watching the games know that the Montreal Canadiens aren't going to make the playoffs, you know what happens? You play for yourself. You no longer play the team game. What do you think Cole Caulfield's going to go out and do? He's going to try and score as many goals as he can. You want to know why? Because at the end of the season or before that, ching, ching, he's cashing in. Like course, that, personal stats are important to a lot of players. Everyone's going to play for themselves. They're going to get away from the team game. Every now and then you might see it, but that's what happens. They're long shifts. They play for themselves right now.
Maybe it's just something happened because of, I don't know, power plays and, lots of whistles, but it's too much. Just to give you an idea, McDavid is averaging 59 seconds, and that's the most in the NHL, but he's always on the ice. But normally a 50-second shift is pretty much the max, or, the target. So anyways, I thought it was an interesting stat.
Angela Esposito says, hi, Tony, via YouTube Live. Hello, Angela. Say hi to Mapper as well. Marc-André Perreault. If you're watching on YouTube Live, you can actually message us SICK, S-I-C-K. It's a way for us to feel the love, and you can hit the like button. Thank you very much if you do that. All right, okay, so Brendan Gallagher.
Yeah.
Out for 6 weeks. The last couple of years have been very, very tough for Brendan Gallagher. He's had a couple of lower body injuries. Before that, he has suffered a broken hand on 2 occasions. He's had a couple of concussions. I think we all knew, I think most of us knew that at one point, Brendan Gallagher couldn't continue playing the game the way he played the game because he was going to break down. And as you get older and as you have a little bit more mileage, you don't recover as quickly. And then maybe this is a freak accident. Maybe you blocked the shot. Maybe you broke something. But long story short, and he's probably been unlucky more than anything else. He's been really unlucky, man.
Unlucky, but his injuries are traffic injuries. It's not like it's because he went in the dirty areas, and you have to respect that with Brendan Gallagher, because now, I mean, obviously his contract is too big for too long. I mean, it's 6.5 for the next 4 seasons, 5 including this year. That's too much money for too long. Everybody agrees on that, okay?
Yeah.
But let's stop like bashing Brendan Gallagher, saying he's useless and he's never gonna be the same. We all know that. But his injuries, I mean, again, it was traffic injuries. It's not just because he was like hanging around, or the groin injury for whatever reason, because he did not train enough or whatever. This guy, he's a true warrior. He's training hard. He's going everywhere on the ice. He's giving everything. So let's keep that in mind. That being said, I mean, it's another 6 weeks. He's probably never going to score 30 goals again. It's going to be a very heavy contract, but I just think it's unfair to, because he's injured again this year, saying that he's useless and blah, blah, blah.
Well, he's not useless, obviously. He has a lot of value to a hockey team in terms of what he can bring on a room in the room. But unfortunately, I mean, the game is played on the ice, and I don't remember which player it was, but when Scotty Bowman won the Stanley Cup with the Pittsburgh Penguins, I think Pierre Maguire at one point, and he won the Stanley Cup with the Penguins in 1992.
91, 92. They won.
91, I think it was Badger Bob. And I think 92 was Scotty Bowman, if memory serves me well. Correct?
91 against Minnesota, 92 Chicago. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So, Dominic Hasek came off the bench in 92 with the Chicago Blackhawks, and Mario Lemieux put a couple by him, but he also made some amazing saves. And there was a player on that's the Lemieux goal where, I think the last game finished 8-0. I think it was game 6, and he went around a couple of guys like they weren't even there. The old inside-out move there. There was a player with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I don't remember which player it was, but Pierre Maguire has said this story on several occasions. And he said that, the player was a healthy scratch. And I think at one point it was he who went up to Bobby and said to Scotty and said, Scotty, he's so good in the room. And he said, well, he can stay there. And so, I mean, at one point you're going to have to bring it on the ice too. You talked about Brendan's never going to score 30 goals again. Mapper, it looks like he's never going to score 20 goals again.
These guys, you never know when they're going to prove you wrong. You never bet against some players, and I think Brendan Gallagher is one of those. Now he's going to have to start walking again and skating again. But I mean, this guy, he's quite something. And just having him around the team, it's a great example for the young players, so that it doesn't worth 6.5 million. We agree on that, but still, he's still important for this team.
Hey, for everyone watching right now, and all you Habs fans, and some think you're bigger than others, and probably some of you know your trivia pretty good. Why don't you put yourself to the ultimate test? Take our latest quiz to test your Habs knowledge. You can click on the link in the YouTube description, or find it on our Facebook and our Twitter. So there you have it. Question number 1, who scored the Habs' first goal of the 2022-2023 season? Was it Mike Hoffman, Josh Anderson, Cole Caulfield, or Nick Suzuki? Now, I don't know if that's hold on a second, put that back. I don't know if that's the picture of the first goal of the season, but seeing as I see David Savard, Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, and Mike Hoffman, I'd go by process of elimination, and I'd be willing to say that it was not Josh Anderson. Huh?
Well, I'm cheating right now. So, but it was Cole Caulfield.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that because he actually picked up. I remember him picking up where he left off. And that's why it went down like that. By the way, you found that fast. What did you use to find that answer?
Oh yeah, he scored like he had 5 goals in his last 5 periods after the second period of that game. You remember? Because he scored a hat trick against the Panthers.
What are you doing? Are you Googling, or you have some kind of guide there, or what's the story?
No, because my NHL app is always open, and I'm watching hockey right now. So I'm just a click away from knowing everything. So I'm
really
intelligent.
You know what?
Yeah, I'm crazy about hockey. So
yeah, I don't even think I ever used that app. You're using the NHL app?
Yeah,
and you have access to that information there, like that, or what?
Yeah.
Really? What do you do? What do you write in?
You just go on the calendar of the games. You go.
Oh, you went on the calendar of the game. Okay, I see. Yeah. And you went to the box score, basically, is what you did.
There you go.
Okay, very, very good. Marty St. Louis needs help. A lot of people are saying Marty St. Louis needs help, needs to surround himself better. You say what exactly? Because I know where I'm going with this. I think the answer is easy.
Yeah, easy answer is yes. And I had the conversation with former players, former NHL player, my colleagues at TVA, and they pretty much all agreed. He has some very good assistant coaches with him. Burroughs, he's good. Letowski is good. Robida is good. They are all challenging themselves. They're working very, very hard. But maybe an old wolf, old coach would it wouldn't hurt, that's for sure. And again, I think Marty St. Louis himself he's saying that he needs more experience. So obviously that would help. It's 1 + 1, right?
All right, that's the way I look at it. Does Marty St. Louis need to surround himself with a better staff? Yeah, when the Montreal Canadiens are ready to take the next step. I want them to rebuild. I want them to finish near the bottom of the standings. I don't want him to bring in a Dave King kind of coach who's an assistant who used to insulate Alain Vigneault when he was early on in his coaching career, and the Canadiens pick up more points in the standings. I don't want that.
Don't be too hard on the actual staff.
Bella, what do you mean?
I mean, these are good hockey people.
Well, I mean, everyone who works in the National Hockey League is a good hockey person. I mean, and everyone who works on the radio are good, and everyone who does podcasting are good, but some are better than others. I mean, okay, so man, I feel uncomfortable saying this because I used to have a little bit of a relationship with Alex Burrows. I mean, I used to see him more regularly. He's a really, really nice guy. I like Alex a lot personally. I like him a lot. But if you're based on certain performance and certain goals,
you're talking about the power play, right?
Well, I mean, that's his responsibility, right? I mean, they have the worst power play.
It's been the same for the last 10 years.
That's not true. That's not true, because I have the stats to back it up. It has been a terrible power play for 5 years, but in the last 10 years, on 2 occasions, once it was like 5th or 7th, and another time I think it was like 14 or 15.
Yeah.
But yes, for the most part, for the last 5 years, they've had a terrible power play. But here's the deal, Mapper. Here's the deal. I don't care how bad Kirk Muller's power play was, and I don't care how bad someone else's power play was. We're talking about Alex Burrows. It's like you say, you
know what? You're right on something. It was not a good argument.
Okay.
You're right on that. But you need the right horses to have a good power play. And when you have and no offense, and really no offense, because he's a great guy. I think he's good on maybe this. But when Chris Weidman, let's take a look at Toronto power play, the first unit.
He lacks a shot from the point 100%.
Well, it's so important. So, yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna say that he doesn't deserve criticism, because it's a game of results, and I get that. But I think there is 1 or maybe 2 missing pieces just for the first unit. So can you imagine for the second? Kaden Goulet maybe is going to be there. Logan Mailloux, I think he could be down the road the guy on the point. Perfect. On the power play.
Mapper, I'm going to say this. You said you look at Toronto's power play, look at the players. I understand. I hear you. Look at Tampa Bay's power play. Look at the players.
Edmonton right now.
Look at Edmonton's power play. Look at the players. I hear you. Look at the Boston Bruins and look at their players. Mapper, I hear you and I agree with you. But Alex Burrows' responsibility is to get the most out of what he has and basically to make that power play work as much as possible, regardless of who the players are. I understand it's a tough challenge. Really, I do. I understand he's lacking a guy with a big shot on the power play. I understand that. But I mean, Mapper, I mean, I don't like the argument of he doesn't have the horses. So, okay. And I use it too for Marty St. Louis. I get that. But Marty St. Louis is in a rebuild. He knows it. Everybody knows it, right? Yeah. The power play, I mean, I'm going to give you an example, okay? And I mean, I'm going to give you my example because I knew it very well, right? So I worked radio for 20 years, okay? Right? I worked radio for 20 years.
I'm going to trust you on that. I was not born.
Yeah, close to 20 years. I mean, I started in September and I left in May. So June, July, August, September, 4 months shy of 20 years. Okay. When I worked radio, I had a great slot for my personal life. I loved it. 10 a.m. to noon was my show. And I actually ended up doing noon to 1 with 2 other colleagues. Okay. My show was 10 to noon. If you take a look at the potential from a ratings potential for that slot, it had the least potential of any slot on the radio station. Because morning, there's hundreds of thousands of cars driving to work. Mm-hmm. Afternoon drive, there's hundreds of thousands of cars driving to work. I was on at a time where there were the least amount of cars on the road, right? Less people listening. Because when there aren't cars on the road and they get to work, well, then people, when they get to work, they usually don't listen. Some of them do via the app, but most of them have to work, especially in the morning. Because if you're going to actually take some time off, you'll go in the morning, you'll do all your work in the morning, you'll try and finish as fast as you can, and then you'll leave in the afternoon, right? So that slot, I had the least potential. Did you ever see any billboard with my face on it? No. Did you ever see my face or my show on the back of a bus? No. Did they invest any money into the show in terms of billboards, advertising, this, that? No. Did I have a budget for guests? Zero. I had one guest who was paid. It was one of my sponsors. I paid him, but there was no budget, right? And there were several shows that had a very, very big budget. I could have packed it in and said, I'll do the show, whatever happens, happens. And you know what? I don't care about the ratings because, least potential. And I wanted to be number one. I wasn't always number one, but I was number one quite a bit, especially the last couple of years. And if I wasn't number one, I was number two, behind by a percentage point. And, that was my mindset. Alex Burrows doesn't have the best players in the league. He doesn't have the second best players in the league or the third best players in the league or the fourth best players, and he's missing a shot from the point. But Mapper, they have the worst power play in the National Hockey League. And they had the worst power play in the National Hockey League last year. And about a month ago, at one point, I think they were 2 for 37. And I think they were like just about 5%. Yeah. Like I've never seen a power play that bad in my life.
Well, I think it was 3 years ago. The first drill of the first day at camp was the zone entrance. Do you say that?
Zone entry. Zone entry, yeah.
On the power play.
Yeah.
Without anyone on the defensive side. So it was the 5 players who just were finding a way to have a good entry. It's been a problem. And again, I said Chris Weidman. The only thing I'm saying is that he is no Shea Weber. That was my point, okay? Because Chris Weidman, I think he's doing a pretty good job on the power play.
He's no Shea Weber. He's no Andre Markov. He's not a Mark Streit. He's not a Sheldon
exactly.
Surrey. And you know what? He's not even a Marc-André Perreault either on the power play.
Well, he doesn't have that shot. So
he said, yeah.
And I get it. And you know what? I'm sure Alex Burrows is not sleeping well at night. He's scratching his head to find some ways to get this power play going.
Yeah.
We saw 2 games ago, before the first power play, there was a TV timeout, and it was Marty St. Louis who had the board at the bench. It was the first time I saw that. So I think they are trying a lot of things. They are scratching their head, but it's just not working right now, and it's gonna have to work. I mean, if you want to win in this league, you have to have a good power play. I mean, it's 1+1, right? But it is a big problem. But you need more threat. That's it, and you don't have them right now.
I hear you. And by the way, I mean, I don't want Alex to lose his job. I want Alex to turn it around. I want the power play to be better.
Course.
I still want them to lose games. I want them to lose games 5-4, 5-3, 6-4, 6-5. I want there to be some very, very entertaining games so people.
It was the case the first 2 months. Until
members of the media started saying that Marty St. Louis is not a tactician. Marty St. Louis, c'est pas un grand stratège. Marty St. Louis doesn't know how to make this team play team defense. And then you know what they did against the New York Rangers on that game back on January the 5th, right? Last week or whenever it was. What did they do? They tried to play defense like crazy, and it made for a very boring game. Just let them be, man. They're going to lose games. Let them open it up. Let Caulfield score his goals. Like everyone score their goals. They're going to lose 5-4, 6-5, 5-3.
Yeah, but you need structure, right?
Man.
You need structure. And you can't tell the guys to just, go play and have fun. It's not the way it works. If you want to win, you need a structure. And that's, I think, what they're finding right now. But the major difference is the will. Because at the start of the season, they could trail by 2 goals and they were still in. Now 2 goals, it's over. And that's why he's saying that there's passengers there. I mean, it's crazy. They lost 11 of their last 13 games.
Yeah.
And you can tell after the first goal of the opponent that it's over, and it's not normal. It's just not normal. And I don't know what happened, because Marty St. Louis is a player's coach. He's giving very good speeches, but why some players are just so flat? It drives me crazy, because when you're talking about passengers, I don't know how you translate that in English, but he's saying basically that some players se pognent le beigne.
Yeah.
They're he's pognent le beigne. They're doing nothing. They're getting their paycheck and they're watching the guys blocking shots and getting hit, and they're doing nothing.
I don't know, by the way, I don't know if that translates. Pogne le beigne, I don't know if it translates. Maybe somebody can help me here. I know what it means. It means basically they're doing sweet patat, right? They're doing nothing.
Let's say they have their fingers in their nose. Let's say that. And they're just they're passengers. I personally hate it. And I heard that poor girl.
Hold on a second. Babe, you want to come up? Babe, don't ruin the podcast. Babe, don't ruin the podcast. Babe, don't ruin the podcast. My look, can you believe this? My wife had some clothes in her hand. She walked into the room, so I was gonna bring her in to introduce her, and she started. Can you believe she ruins all of my if she would have, I can't believe she does this to me all the time. All the time. When I used to, she does this to me all the time. Babe,
yeah, you deserve it.
Kelly wants to know if she can say hello. Babe, Angela Jose. Her name is Angela Jose, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. Angela Jose. They want you. I want you. Yeah,
she's not coming. So, anyway, what were we saying? We were talking about passengers, right? Second time in a month. What?
I'm so immature. All right, go ahead.
No, well, that was I lost my train of thoughts. Do you have like a music like? You okay? Did you have too many of these cans?
Oh my God. I'm okay now. You just, I'm so immature.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Aren't we all? But yeah.
You're
tired. You're working too hard.
15 minutes left of the show.
What's happening?
Nothing. It's just when I start, I can't stop.
Well, Edmonton just scored the 4th goal. 4-1.
Oh my God.
Who's this guy?
Okay, it's good now.
You good?
Yeah. And by the way, I'm not, I'm not on anything. I've actually,
Thank God.
Besides this can of beer, I've never taken any of that other stuff in my life, believe it or not.
Okay, I trust you.
Yeah.
But anyway, so let's just not forget that this coaching staff is working very, very hard right now, but they need help.
Yes, they need help, but they're not at a point right now with their team or the competitiveness of their team that they absolutely need to have the most competitive staff too. The way the team is a young team and they're young pups who are learning, right?
Yeah.
It's a coaching staff that's young. And when they start to add, I think, more experienced players or their players gain in maturity or experience, then I think you can start to add to the staff. I really don't think it's a priority right now at all.
No, but they have Marty St. Louis has to figure a way to get his guys out of this, and he's learning as well. It's something to find the right word, find the right recipe to get your guys out of this slump.
Yeah.
And he's learning as well, because right now it's ugly. And what I was saying is that poor girl who she said, you know what, I'm not making a lot of money, and I waited for months and I get like the $250 or the $300 needed to get some good seats against the Kraken, and she's like, and that's what I get for $300, and it took her months to get. That's, for me, that's the worst part of watching this team right now, because I'm paid to watch the game, and I get it, and for me it can be a good show, a bad show, it doesn't affect my paycheck. But for the people who doesn't have all that money, and it drives me crazy.
Mapper, I met Wendy and Stefan yesterday, who watched the Sick podcast via YouTube Live. And Stefan is formerly from Montreal, moved to Ontario, I believe, 26 years ago. They live about an hour 20 from downtown Toronto. They're both Montreal Canadiens fans, and they came down for the game on Monday versus Seattle, and they're going to be in town for a couple of games. I believe they might be going to the game tomorrow night as well, if memory serves me well. But anyway, they whether they will or they won't, they told me it was a $500 night for them on Monday night, and they were disappointed because that's found a lot of
money.
They didn't get their money's worth, obviously. But look, I'm gonna say this. We talked about Alex Burrows before, and even though they're rebuilding and all that stuff, I do believe that next year the power play cannot be this bad, and if it is, and I'm not saying he'll get relieved of his duties, but maybe the first step you might see is that Marty St. Louis might take over the responsibilities of the power play. Why? Because when you have a bad power play, and obviously when you have a bad power play, you're not scoring. When you're not scoring, Marty St. Louis said it the other day, when guys come off of a bad power play, they don't score. It seems like their confidence dips, and it just kind of like ruins. It kind of like ruins the rest of their game. And so, even though they're rebuilding, it's going to become an important facet of their game because it's gonna give guys confidence and feeling good about each other. And I think that if they don't turn it around next year, Marty St. Louis might take over the power play. That could be step one.
I mean, they're going to be changed. That's for sure. Because remember, one season of hockey, it's like 10 years in real life for us. It's long. But another thing Marty said today is, it can happen that one given night, you don't have your legs. You don't feel good. But the effort, you do have power on that. It's your decision to give the effort or not. And if you don't have your legs, you need the effort, or you're a passenger. So I can't wait to see the next games, how some players are going to answer. I can't wait. But the only thing I want to say is the young players are not passengers. Nick Suzuki is having, kind of a slump.
No.
But he is like, he's like giving the effort. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Slavkovsky, same thing. Blocked 2 shots against Seattle, had some good chances. He might not be working perfectly, but he is working, and that's important. So anyways, but it all comes down to, again, I'm always saying it's all about expectations. Last week I was telling you what did you expect from particular players? That's what you get. So
Mapper, very. Am I? Did you stop talking here, or you did? Okay, I thought for a second that you were still talking a lot. Mapper,
no.
Very, very long day for you. I mean, were you at the practice today?
Yeah, I'm always at the practice.
So you were at practice today. Then you made your way over to TVA Sport. You filed all your stories. You did everything you had to do. There's hours and hours of work. Then you go back. You make an appearance here with Jean-Charles Lajoie on TVA Sport on GEC. And then you finish that, and then you get out of there. And I don't know what time you got home. And now you're on with me, and it's like 10:52 p.m. Man, I know I've told you before that I really appreciate it, but I really appreciate it, man. Thank you. I'm not going to keep you longer because it's been a very, very long day for you. Thank you. And as you can tell, it's been a long day for me too. Look at his Twitter handle. There it is. At @MA_Perreault TVA. He's Marc-André Perreault. And in my opinion, one of the best reporters, not only covering the Montreal Canadiens, but I would say in the National Hockey League. Mapper is the GOAT of French or Francophone sports reporters. This coming in from Julien Plenty.
Let's say I do it my way, and I don't take myself too seriously. So I'm happy that some people enjoy it. But let's just having fun talking about hockey. But thanks for the kind words, and thanks to Julien.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So you so you do it your way, correct?
Exactly. And you can go on my Twitter account while you were gone somewhere. I invited people to go see my Michael Pezzetta watering his hair play-by-play on Twitter, and that's
So
just fun, right?
Why don't we see you out with this? Are you ready?
No.
For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way.
I don't know if I like better this one or when you sing the Foreigners to Jean-Charles. But yeah, thanks.
Or a Foreigner. I want to know what love is. I want you to show me. Hey, Mapper, have a great night. You know what, Mapper? You're so much, honestly, and I'm not just tooting your own. You're so much fun, and I can tell you the beauty of you is that the people watching live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, they can feel the fun, and they're having a lot of fun with us. Thank you for being the way you are, man. I'll talk to you soon.
I'm happy. I appreciate that.
Merci beaucoup. Have a great
everyone.
night, okay? There you have it. Marc-André Perreault of TVA Sport. I really like this guy a lot. Great idea to get him on as a collaborator. Great idea. Why don't we do this? Why don't we take some questions? Hey, I know we're done in about 5 minutes or so, but we haven't taken calls in a while, and usually I only take calls. After a game, but I don't know. Agnello, can I open up the phone lines and maybe take a call or two? It has to be a good call, because if it's not a good call, I'm just letting it go. I have to, before I actually do this, I have to ask Agnello if it's a good idea, if it's possible. Agnello, Sammy, and Master Control, can you join me for a second here or no? Boo.
All right,
there they are. How are you?
Doing good.
My man.
What's going on?
You and I, we have an agreement that, we usually take calls after games because that's when more people want to call. But is this a fixed rule type of thing or what? Like if I wanted to take a call or two tonight, can I do it or not?
There's no rules for Tony Marinaro.
You're the best. My God. I've never been used to this kind of situations where there's no rules. My God, amazing. 1-888-585-SICK. 1-888-585-7425. I might end up regretting this, by the way. And the only reason why I'm doing it is because somebody in the YouTube chat actually said, answer the phone. So you know what? I'm going to give out the number right now. I'm going to wait about a minute or two. If no one's going to call, and then I'm not going to get it, and then we can forget about it. Future Sight says, love this sick podcast. Thank you very much. Kelly says, Master Control rocks. Yes, they do. That is Agnello and Sammy Cavallaro, the pride of the West Island. They're the best. One of your best regulars, says Edward. Keep up the great work. Cheers, Tony. Says Big Bill, when is Brian Wild coming back on, Tony? Well, when he wants to. What I can tell you is that usually Eric Engels is a contributor on Mondays. Usually Marc-André Perreault is a contributor on Wednesdays. Usually George Larac is a contributor on Thursdays. Stu Cowan joins most of the time on Fridays. He'll join us every now and then on Tuesdays. But Brian Wild joins us every now and then. We have others. Mitch Jaguar has joined us from time to time, and there are others who have joined us every now and then. And Chris Nyland, Knuckles, joined me once, and if all goes well, he's going to join me on several other occasions. He's in Hawaii right now, so when he comes back, maybe we'll do something together. David says, Tony, I was laughing so hard when you kept cracking up. Yeah. Every now and then I lose it. Sonny Patel says, yeah, Master Control is doing a great job. Center Ice says, we love Master Control. Others coming in. Big Bill says, sounds good. SB says, love you, Tony. You're doing amazing, fantastic show. Thank you very, very much. John Zimmerman, enjoyed your singing. When do you release your recording? I don't know. I haven't sang any Italian songs yet, by the way. I haven't sang any Italian songs yet. Yellow, do you have any suggestions of any songs that you'd like for me to sing in Italian, or no, or yes, no? No? Did we lose? We lost Agnello? Is that it?
Oh, we're here. We're here.
Yeah. Is there any suggestions of any songs in Italian that you'd want me to sing, or what?
I think you should sing Felicità at the end.
At the end?
Yeah.
You don't like Sarà perché ti amo. You don't like that,
I like that too.
Che confusione, sarà perché ti amo, un'emozione che cresce piano piano, stringimi più forte e stammi più vicino se ci sto bene, sarà perché ti amo.
Hey, we have somebody on hold, so you got to do the animation.
Let's do that. Let's do the animation. Let's do that, yeah.
You called. Presented by Playground.
Called is presented by Playground. And I want to let you know that Playground has over 600 machines, poker tournaments, and Playground casino games, daily promotions, and unmatched customer service. Why go anywhere else? Located just over the Mercier Bridge, only minutes from downtown Montreal. And Agnello, where are we going? We are going to... Doesn't matter who we're going to. Who we're going to exactly. Okay. Hello, who's this? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, he hung up.
He hung up. I heard Agnello saying, yeah, he hung up. I hear Agnello in the background. Did you hear that? All right. You see, some people tell me, answer your phones. Let's get to the calls. We answer the phones. The first call we go to, hung up. I knew I was going to regret doing this. The only reason why I did it is I kind of like wanted to be a man of the people. You know, somebody asked me to answer the phone. So I said, okay, we're going to answer the phone. So what do? We answer the phone. We go to the call. Hello, nobody there. Hello, nobody there. Hello, nobody there. And nobody was there. So this is what we're going to do. I think I'm going to cut my losses here. All right. And we're going to get to your calls tomorrow night after the Montreal Canadiens and the Nashville Predators. PK Subban is in town. As a matter of fact, he visited the kids at the Montreal Children's Hospital earlier today. What a beautiful thing. And tomorrow night, the Montreal Canadiens are going to honor him. And it looks like it's going to be a very, very special night at the Bell Center. Anthony from Montreal says, I called and got disconnected. Sorry. Okay. Well, you know what? Why don't you call back? Hello, who's this? Hello?
Hello.
Yes. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
It's Kaiwan.
Kaiwan.
From Kitchener. I called a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Okay. How you doing?
Yeah, no, hold on.
I'm doing pretty good, thanks, Tony. Yourself?
Very, very good. Thank you. I hear Agnello in the background telling somebody else to hold on, but I'm doing good, man. What's on your mind?
No, I'm the guy in the chat. I'm Cook69 for the guys at Center Ice and all them. And
oh, yeah. Hold on a second. Which one are you in the chat again?
Cook69.
Okay. Cook69. Okay. Very, very good. Is that
we fucked it up a bit in the chat. I love it. But anyways, there's some pretty good talking, pretty good. You guys got a good bunch of fellows in here.
Yeah, you know what? This is the sick army that we have. We love it.
I know this, Tony. I know this.
Yeah.
And I love your show, brother. I love the guys in the back.
Thank you. Appreciate
here,
it.
And trust me, there's no greater fans. I know they're all in Montreal, but I'm from Quebec originally. It's really tough to be a Habs fan, so it's good to have shows like yours, and it's a pleasure.
We strive to be the best Habs podcast in the world. That's what we strive to be, and that's the goal.
Absolutely, brother.
Yeah. People want to know why
bring your wife out.
Yeah, people want to know why the username is that your year of birth?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, it is. I'll be 53 this year.
Okay, I got it.
Next month.
Yeah. Okay, very, very good. All right, my man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man. Have a good night, Tony. Thanks again for everything.
Thank you. If he was actually born in 69, and I'm doing the math right now, if it's going to be his birthday this year, wouldn't he be 54 instead of 53? Because I just think he said he was going to be 53. Anyway, boo. All right. I think we're going to take one more. Are we going to take one more? Let's take one more. Luigi in Montreal. Luigi, how are you?
How you doing, Tony?
Luigi D'Amore from Onsick.
Tony?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fantastic show tonight with Mapper. Was amazing.
Yeah, we're having fun.
By the way, Tony, this is not sports related, but you're looking good. You slimmed down. I can see your face. You're looking very, very well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I had lost. I had lost 11 pounds in the last 2 months or so, but tonight I had a couple of desserts, and I have a feeling that I might just put back a couple more tomorrow. But anyway, one day at a time, Louis. One day at a time.
You're allowed to cheat once in a while, Tony, but you're looking very, very good. Keep on doing what you're doing, Tony.
Hey, I know you're a big, thank you, I appreciate it. I know you're a big CF, besides being a big Canadiens fan, I also know you're a big CF Montreal fan. For those who missed it earlier today, over the past couple of days, Kai Kamara had not reported to CF Montreal training preseason, and the coach told us that he was sick. And Olivier Renard, the sporting director, actually clarified it today and said, listen, he was sick. Yeah, well, that's what we were told. He got to, his doctor sent us a note telling us he was sick so that he wasn't going to be able to make the trip. When we asked for more information, they never got back to us. But Kai Kamara tweeted earlier this morning that, I love my stay in Montreal and I would have loved to have my family come down and join me. But unfortunately, it's not going to work out, and I'm going to look for a new home now. Anyway, it's a matter of negotiations, and he wanted a 2-year deal. They offered him a 2-year deal. He wanted a raise. They offered him a raise, but it appears like maybe he wanted too much. And, Kai Kamara is a very good goal scorer. He's like the third best goal scorer in the history of MLS, but I think he's been on like 12 or 13 teams or whatever it is. So at one point, I don't think it was CF Montreal this time around. I think it was maybe him trying to maybe make $500,000, maybe even more at an age where he probably doesn't merit that money,
Correct. You're absolutely right, Tony.
But Louis, it's a game of comparables. When you see your teammate that's making 500 or 600 and you score more than him, you say, well, if he's making it, I should make it too. That's what it is, right?
Well, you're absolutely right, because apparently tonight on Twitter or on social media, they have Miller being traded to another team in the MLS.
For allocation money.
Allocation money, correct.
That surprised me a little bit, to tell you the truth, because I thought that he could be a player that they could build up his value one more year and then actually sell him off to Europe, which would have been more fruitful for the club than actually allocation money. So I'm a little bit surprised by that, but I mean, I guess there's a reason behind it.
Absolutely.
Louis, in ending, why don't we do this, Louis? Your thoughts, and we'll end the show with you, Louis. The Montreal Canadiens are going to honor PK Subban tomorrow. It was a relationship that started off beautifully between PK Subban and the Montreal Canadiens, and then at one point, as his brand got bigger, there were a couple of problems. Where have I heard that before? And all of a sudden, there were different rules for him that were implemented that weren't probably there for everyone else, because no one else didn't have a brand as much as him, and wasn't as marketable as he was. So they tried to bring him in a little bit. He wanted to do his thing. They didn't want him to, and he was traded for Shea Weber. A couple of weeks or about a week before, his no trade clause would have kicked into his contract, where he would have had, I'm trying to remember, I think he would have had 6 years left on his deal, because originally it was an 8-year deal at $9 million a year, $72 million. They get to honor him tomorrow night. Louis, your thoughts on the Canadiens honoring PK Subban tomorrow night?
I think it's a fabulous initiative, Tony. I'm going to tell you a story. When PK was with the Canadiens, the same week he got traded to Nashville in the offseason, I bought my son a jersey of PK Subban, which he's going to wear tomorrow. And I was so disappointed that he got traded. It worked out well for both teams, but off ice, we criticize athletes all the time, but this guy takes the time. He's a classy individual. He's got that $1 million smile, and the fans always loved him. And I know he's going to get a standing ovation tomorrow. I'm 100% sure.
He's gonna get a big time standing ovation tomorrow.
Absolutely, Tony. Absolutely, and what he does for kids here in Montreal, it's absolutely fantastic.
Look, Louis, PK Subban wasn't unanimous. He did rub some people the wrong way. I did hear stories from the locker room, whether, some of them are probably true. Some of them are probably players that probably wish that they were PK Subban, and they had, they were bringing in the sponsorship dollars that he was, and they probably had his marketability, and they probably had his brand. So you don't always know what to believe. But I will say this no one can take away. PK Subban was one of the most exciting players the Montreal Canadiens have had in the last 15 or 20 years. Number one. Number two, PK Subban is a pretty good player. He won a Norris Trophy. Number three, PK Subban was one of the best clutch performers in the playoffs. And number four, and last but not least, PK Subban pledged to raise $10 million for the Children's Hospital. So, people can say what they want. He's not everyone's favorite defenseman for whatever reason, but no one can counter that. He was one of their most exciting players. He was one of their best clutch players. He won the Norris Trophy, and he pledged to raise $10 million for the Children's Hospital. And, if I hear one more time, well, if it was, it wasn't his money. First of all, some of it was. That's number one. Number two, well, you know what? I don't care whose money it was. He pledged to raise it. He had initiatives to raise it. He had events to raise it, and he raised it. And if 20 players on the team would have pledged to raise $10 million for the hospital, well, then the hospital would have received $200 million. Right?
Absolutely, Tony.
Can't take anything away. He'll get the standing ovation tomorrow night, and he deserves it.
Absolutely. I'm gonna be clapping from my house, Tony, in front of the TV because
you know what? Hopefully, and your son will be at the game wearing his PK Subban jersey. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's gonna be home. We're gonna be both home because he has an.
He's gonna be at home.
We're gonna be watching.
If he was at the game, I was gonna say clap so hard that your son could hear you, but. I think you're not going to be the only one who's going to be clapping from home tomorrow night. Luigi, I know I told you you'd be the last caller, but Sammy Cavallaro of Master Control, who is the boss of the show, even though he told me I'm the boss, he's the boss, and he's the godfather. Everybody knows it. Sammy says I'm going to take one more. Okay, Louis, have a great night. You take care of yourself.
Good night, Tony.
Luigi D'Amore from Ahansik. I had a chance to meet him. Used to listen to my radio show. Met him on a soccer field. He volunteers his time with amateur clubs, has given so much of his time. Had a chance to meet him. He's become a personal friend of mine. We have each other's number. We call each other every couple of days, see how each other's doing. He's a great man. Tony in Pennsylvania. Him I've never met, but maybe one day if he comes to Montreal, maybe I will. Tony, we're going to end the show with you tonight. This better be good, my man.
I'll try to do my best. How are you?
I'm good.
Well, hey, so as a Canadian fan living in Pennsylvania, I've never seen the Canadiens play in person or anything like that. I'm 28 years old, so I was born the year after they last won a Stanley Cup. So I've only ever known frustration and pain and anger toward this team. And Tony, I 100% agree with you. Whenever you're talking about, them landing Bedard, the rebuild is done. They get a couple top 5 picks. The rebuild is basically finalized. But I'm sorry, it's just a pessimist to me. So I just kind of want to know your opinion. If the Canadiens do not get a top 5 pick and Florida's pick is outside the top 10, how much longer can this rebuild last until fans and the media start calling for management's head and they just got to start fielding a team to be somewhat competitive?
It all depends. They're going to have to make some trades and or sign some unrestricted free agents, which obviously will complicate the process a little bit because the best way you can go about it is actually through the draft. Why? Because the players you're going to draft, they're going to be on an entry-level contract for the first 3 years. They're going to be making less than $1 million. If you make a trade, chances are you're not going to get anything great on the marketplace making less than $1 million because teams don't usually trade their players in the first 2 or 3 years of their entry-level contract. That's number one. Number two, they usually say that unrestricted free agency is kind of like the worst day in the National Hockey League. If you want a bargain, you're not going to get it on an unrestricted free agency. So it'll complicate the process. But in Gorton, I trust. In Hughes, I trust. This management team is going to get it done, Tony. It's not a question of if. It's more a question of when. Tony, thanks for your call. We started with
Thank
Tony.
you.
And we're ending with a Tony. To you, my sick army, if you like what you had a chance to hear, hit the like button, message sick, S-I-C-K. S-I-C-K. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. If you're going to be listening at any point on Google, Apple, or Spotify, If you leave us a 5-star review, we'll really appreciate it. Habs fans, take our latest quiz to test your Habs knowledge. Click the link in the YouTube description or find it on our Facebook and our Twitter. Tomorrow night, the Nashville Predators visit the Montreal Canadiens, and PK Subban will be there. You be there too, and you be right here on the Sick Podcast starting at 10 p.m. Eastern, because we're going to be talking PK. And I'm not talking about shorthanded. I'm talking about PK Subban and your Montreal Canadiens. Once again, all in the same sentence. It's going to happen tomorrow night. This podcast is sick. My audience is sick. We're going to have a sick week. It's going to be a sick game tomorrow night. It's going to be a sick ambiance at the Bell Center. It's going to be a sick podcast tomorrow night. I'm Marinaro.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. 8.6. Intense by nature. And La Cage. If the last time you went to La Cage was when the Habs won the Cup, it's time you went back to La Cage. The menu will surprise you.